Everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop review. Today we're looking at some more single action army pistols. These ones are licensed versions. They're Colt John Wayne Duke licensed. And basically how this came about is Umarex and Air Venturi got together. Umarex holds the Colt license and Air Venturi holds the John Wayne license. So they came together and basically merged their licenses to create these products here that I'm sharing with you today. And I want to again thank Air Venturi for supplying me with these revolvers for review. I haven't shot either one of these guns, but I have shot the Umarex version, the 4.5mm steel BB versions, and I've done quite a bit of testing. I've made several videos of me shooting these guns just for fun, using different ammunitions in them, chronographing them, shooting them at targets, all kinds of things. So I'll put some links to those videos. But you know what we have here is we have a BB version and a lead pellet version. So the pellet version will shoot a little differently. So I'm going to be basically taking these guns out, shooting them side by side, but we'll be shooting the pellet and the BB version to give you an example of how they shoot in the different types of ammunition. All right, let's get on with some of the specifications. They're pretty much an all-metal design gun. Again, I have my 4.5mm steel BB version and my .177 caliber lead pellet version here on the table. Now, the BB version has a 4.5-inch smoothbore barrel. Now, the pellet has the same length barrel, but it's a rifled barrel. Both of these guns use 12-gram CO2 cartridges. Both of them have 6-round cylinders with revolver-style brass-loaded shells that you load from the back for both pellet and BB. So they're both really easy to load, and you can load them from the back. No having to take the crazy tips off and load the pellets into the tips and then screw them back on and all that kind of nonsense. Both guns weigh in about 2.1 pounds or 953 grams. Again, both of them are single action only, just like the single action Army revolvers they replicate. Now, the BB version using the slightly lighter ammo will shoot about 410 FPS, while the lead pellet version should shoot somewhere around 380 using lighter grain pellets. And again, it's Colt and John Wayne Duke licensed by Umarex and Air Venturi. Now, these guns are made in Taiwan and again distributed by Umarex and Air Venturi. They do come in nice boxes. Okay, so you got the John Wayne graphics there, right? So this is the BB revolver .177 caliber, and this would be the BB version as it shoots 410 FPS. Steel BBs. Okay, and this is actually the weathered finish. So we have the weathered finish here in the BB version. Really nice looking. We'll take a close-up look at it in a bit here. You can see some of the specifications, and you can see here we have Umarex and Air Venturi on the box because again they both came together to basically share their licenses with each other. Okay, let's just take a quick look at the other box. Pretty much the same. This is the nickel version. Okay. But you can see here the nickel version 380 FPS because we're using pellets. Okay, single action, just some stuff there. And you can see this is the nickel version, right? 380 FPS again. Now, it says smoothbore barrel, but I'm pretty sure it's rifled. I could be mistaken. We'll have to take a look, but I thought it was rifled. If I'm mistaken, I'll put a correction in here. Maybe we can take a look right now. There's no CO2 in these guns. I'm just going to take a look down the barrel. Hard to see. Really hard to see down there. I am going to have to stand by my claim of these being rifled because I looked down the barrel and it's rifled. Now I'm going to double check the other ones to see if it looks any different. Now I couldn't see any rifling in the BB version. It was pretty hard to look down there. You can't, because of the way that the chambers are, you can't open the chamber and backlight it. So you have to shine the light down the front to look. But I'm going to swear that the pellet version has a rifled barrel. I could definitely see rifling in that barrel, even though on the box it says smooth bore right there. So that could be a misprint. It kind of thing happens sometimes. Now I quickly want to compare both these guns to the Umarex only versions, right? And you can see here we have the nickel version. Basically, they're the same guns, right? Same type of gun, slightly different finish on the nickel version versus this basically weathered version. We'll get into it in a little bit here. And then we also have another nickel version here. And again, both of these are just BB guns, okay? So they're not pellet, but they're the same single action army gun that Umarex basically brought out a year or so ago, last SHOT Show, right? And they're just such awesome guns. They really are. They're just gorgeous guns. Now, before I forget, I did want to mention that you can get these leather holsters through Air Venturi, and they are real leather. I had some Yahoo tell me they weren't leather, but they are. I double checked with Air Venturi. They are leather. Someone's saying, oh, they're just cheap plastic, and you know what? I don't think the guy even knows what he's talking about. Anybody can say anything on YouTube, right? We all know that. People just like to chit chat and talk and write stuff down, and you know, they don't really know what they're talking about a lot of the time. Anyways, that's the nice belt that you get with the gun loops and bullet loops, and then you've also got this nice holster here, and you know, you've got the John Wayne insignia in it, and it's leather again. Look, you can see it. I can smell it. It smells like leather. It looks like leather. It's got to be leather, right? So these guns, you know, pop them in there, right? They fit beautifully, obviously. Right. All right, at this point I want to do a little walk around on each gun just so you can see the finish up close a little bit here. Get this to focus. So we have our Umarex gun here, and you can see that weathering looks just really beautiful, right? We can take our shells out. This is the BB version. So again, you load the shells from the back, but it's BBs, okay? So I'll show you an example of the BBs versus the pellets in a second, but here's the BBs, right? And these are actually these copper-coated lead BBs, these low ricochet Excite BBs. And so I'm going to try these ones out in this when I test this gun out as well. And they're a little heavier than your standard grain lead or steel BB. They're actually about 7 grain. If this will focus. Come on. There we go. There we are. So you can see here 7.4 grain. Pretty much as heavy as a pellet in a lot of cases. A lot of pellets are around 7 grain. Medium weight ones anyways. Like this pellet here, you'll see that these guys are about probably close to 7 grain as well. So they're actually maybe even a hair lighter. But we'll see how they go. I'll try some steel BBs. I'll try some lead BBs, and I'll obviously try the lead pellets, right? Let's take a look at this. So we have our Duke Colt Single Action, right? Just gorgeous. There's the safety, just like the Umarex version. It's kind of discreet, which is a nice place to put it, right? You're not going to be, it's not going to take away from the look of this gun at all. You got your Colt licensing. You do have your John Wayne emblem right there in the imitation wood grip. Okay, now that's my only PP. You even got the signature, the John Wayne signature on the back, right? These grips are plastic. You'll notice that you have your CO2 screw right there with your Allen key in the grip, which is really cool. So you don't have to go looking for an Allen key, right? Your CO2 goes in there. The grips are plastic. They're well made, but you know, you can see that they're plastic when you get real close to them, but they look pretty good. I'm not going to hate on them too much. They are plastic. What do you expect, right? But just really nice gun. You know, you've got the recessed barrel, right? And you've got that weathering. It just looks beautiful. I like the weather look the most, I'd say, out of all of them. And then here's your nickel version. Again, this is pellet, so the shells pretty much look the same. Hard to tell. You don't want to mix them up. But these ones are, you'll see that they're silver, right, or nickel. So a little easier to tell them apart. I don't know if they're all like that, but this is the pellet shell. Okay, and it holds pellets. Okay. So basically to get at that, if you want to open this up and rotate the cylinder, you have to sort of half cock the gun, and then you can rotate the cylinder. And I guess you could put pellets in, like one at a time this way without actually removing the shells. It would be a little easier to take them out, but you could do it either way. Okay, you have on both of these guns, you just have your standard sights, right? They're non-adjustable. It's basically just a groove on the back, post on the front, right? Again, you've got your John Wayne insignia emblem and signature there. Okay. I just love the way they ratchet, just like the real ones. Okay. All right. All right, let's talk about some of the pros and the cons. Again, I can't talk about the shooting experience so much. I guess I could, but I'm just going to send you to that video where I shot them. You can watch that video. These guns, at least in the BB version, should operate exactly the same as the Umarex ones. Again, the lead pellet shooter is going to be a little different. I'm expecting maybe a little tighter groups because it does have the rifled barrel and it's shooting lead pellets, so hopefully it'll shoot even better. They already shot pretty good, but lead pellets might even shoot a tad bit better. All right, let's talk about some of the pros first. Still really the best airgun reproduction of the single action Army revolvers. They're very accurate replicas of the real steel Old West version. So if you're looking for an Old West gun, these guys are pretty much as close as you're going to get in a CO2 revolver these days. They again have the recessed barrel, which gives you that kind of open, big caliber look at the front that you want to see on one of these Old West revolvers. They've got excellent weight and feel in the hand. These guns are very solid. They come in again at pretty close to 2 pounds. I like the removable shell loading design, that you load them from the back, so a lot easier to load up than some of these other shell loading guns. The hammer and trigger action are about perfect. There's literally no take up. It's very crisp and super light. Under 2 pounds of trigger pull, being that they're a true single action Army style trigger and hammer. The finish on both the nickel and the weathered look really good. Again, I'd have to say the weathered one is probably one of my favorite finishes for these types of guns. Perhaps blued would be second, and then nickel. I'm not going to say last because it still looks really good, but they all look really good, to be honest. I like that they're Colt and John Wayne Duke licensed, again through Umarex and Venturi. I also like the way the CO2 is well concealed. There's no tab hanging out. Then you have that built-in Allen key right into the grip there, so you don't have to go looking for it. And even the safety is fairly discreet. Tucked up underneath there, you're not going to really see it unless you go looking for it. Now what's also nice is these guns are available in pellet version now. I believe the Umarex Colt version, you can get that one in pellet as well. But if you're looking for a John Wayne gun that's got the Colt licensing as well, then you'll have to probably go through Venturi to do that, or a distributor of Venturi. Couple cons, these guns still have the warning labels on them on the side there, right? So on the darker ones, it's a little bit more obvious than on the nickel version. So that's one advantage to the nickel version, is you really can't see that lettering very much. So if you don't like that lettering, definitely go for the nickel version because you really won't see it much at all. Now the real steel version would shoot a 45 caliber or 44 or 45 caliber slug, so the actual shells would be bigger. These are more, or I'd say they're closer to a 357 or 380 style shell in diameter, so they are a little smaller. They're not really true in size that way, so that's a little bit of a smallish kind of thing, but not a big deal. Now again, the imitation wood grips, at least for me, I thought that was probably the least realistic part of this gun. It would have been nice to have wood grips, although I don't know if it would have been practical if they would have been able to make the wood thick enough to actually work in this situation. But real wood grips would have just amazingly finished off these guns. Perhaps at some point, maybe somebody will make a wood grip for these guns, because there's a ton of them out there now. So that might be an idea. If someone out there could do it, you definitely have a lot of people probably buying them up from you. Alright, thanks for watching another Replica Airguns tabletop video. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Also come on down to replicaairguns.com, where I have a lot of articles, posts, and reviews, and I'll even have additional photos of these guns on a written post that I'm going to add there. I'll put a link in the description of this video. We also have our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores, where we sell BB guns, pellet guns, blank guns, airsoft guns, knives, and other accessories. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.